Hey everyone, SweetJohnnyCage here. Welcome back to part 3 of the Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree full playthrough walkthrough. In this section of the walkthrough, we're going to go through the eastern side of Gravesite Plain. We just recently did, in part 2, the northern section, including the Belliarot Jail. And in part 1, we did the southern section. So now it's time to do this whole area here. And this area may look small, however, there are 2 dungeons that we're going to do. There's going to be one to the north, actually 3 dungeons. There's one to the north, and then there's a forge. To the south, this does not have a boss, but we're still going to do it. And then there's the Dragon's Pit, which is the 3rd dungeon. There's also an NPC over here named Thiollier, very important NPC that we're going to meet and say hello to. And along the way, we're going to pick up a bunch of Scadutree fragments and keep upgrading. The goal here is to do all of Gravesite Plain, or all that we can do. And then, probably in the next part of the walkthrough, we'll move into the actual Legacy Dungeon, Belliarot Tower Settlement. But I do want to go there at like level 4 or 5 Scadutree Blessing, just so we have a, I won't say an easier time against the boss, but a better time against the boss. So we're starting here at 3 Path Cross, and then we are going to cross the Ellac Bridge. Real quick, I'll show you my stats. Currently level 181. This is primarily a dex build that we brought in from the base game, from the full playthrough walkthrough for the base game. Same character. Level 3 Scadutree Blessing, and a level 2 Revered Spirit Ash Blessing. Okay, we can get rid of our... Actually, I'm going to keep our flail equipped. It's going to be useful in the forge later, so we'll keep that. But we're primarily using a Rivers of Blood plus 10 still, and a Sacred Yuchi Katana plus 25. Okay, let's go ahead and cross the bridge. I do love the way nighttime looks in Gravesite Plain. It is quite gorgeous. Alrighty. So as you approach the bridge, sooner or later you're going to get shot at by a ballista. So keep a very close eye on the end of the bridge, because a bolt is going to come flying your way. Oh boy. I didn't want to get stuck on these barricades. Try to stay to the right. There it goes. And then don't even bother with the enemies. Instead, you just want to rush this way, pick up this item, and then take out your weapon and get to work on the guy shooting the ballista. I do love that this is a working ballista. You can see the wheels turning and everything. Love the detail in these games, truly. All right, so now that the ballista is taken care of, you can actually just kind of go to work on these guys. Oh, I think the ballista bolt actually shot that guy. That's funny. Okay, and then be sure to pick up the items along the bridge. We have a Lost Ash of War. Of course, a ballista bolt. That makes sense. Okay, that guy's dead. Butterfly. Okay, so we're basically going to get to the entrance of a legacy dungeon called Castle Ensis. However, do not forget this Scadutree Blessing or Fragment that's over here by this headless statue of Marika. People in the Realm of Shadow are no fan of Marika, constantly cutting her head off. Okay, so this is the castle front side of Grace. We're not going into the castle for quite a while. That's going to be our 2nd legacy dungeon. But you do want to explore the camp, because there's some treasure here. The Scadutree Fragment's really the most important part, but you still want to go into the tents, see what's around. Hello, doggy. Oof. Okay. Wasn't expecting the stomp. I was expecting a kick. Sweet Jiminy Jesus. Very good. Yeah, these Messmer soldiers can buff themselves and start dealing a ton of damage. So you gotta be very careful. They are not trash mobs. Alright, so we got some perfumers up here. Luckily, we caught them before they shielded. I'm gonna break this one's stance really quick. Do you have another Messmer another Messmer soldier over there, but perfumers are more important because they can buff everybody and deal quite a lot of AoE fire damage. So, yeah, I know. Okay. No, I don't think that calls anybody from the other side. Oh, hello. Another perfumer. Okay. So, things have calmed down. Over on this side. Cool. So now let's go over to this side. Take care of these enemies. There's a Black Knight here. There's also a guy with a torch spear on the other side, but really important to get this backstab off and then kill this guy while the Black Knight recovers. Remember, you can generally run behind these guys whenever they use their shield slam. I messed it up, but perfect. Oh, I was expecting the drag attack. I was not expecting that one. Yeah, I was expecting that. Okay. Get the Black Knight armor. We'll read about that in a second. Let's go ahead and kill this torch soldier here. Great. I think we're safe for the time being. Black Knight set. Armor worn by the Black Knights, servants of Messmer the Impaler. Though the engraving above the heart is a Scadutree design, it is etched in gold, a small consolation to those forced to wage a war without grace or honor. So the grace and honor comes from the Erdtree, so that's why the gold etching is there, but it's black because of all of the flame. Okay, we get the Fire Knight's Cookbook number 2, which teaches us how to create fire coil, a record of crafting techniques left by the Fire Knights who served Messmer the Impaler. Details the art of wielding fire for the benefit of soldiers setting out to join the crusade. Okay. Oh, God. The lack of Scadutree blessing on this character is insane. Whoa. You guys have too much range. Okay. Oof. Wow. Deadly. Okay, so interestingly, you have a lot of these bonfires, but they don't really do anything. I think it's just like a literal bonfire for soldiers to stay warm, but they look so ornate that you would think that there's something to them, but there isn't. Okay. Let's start heading north. Oh, God. Oh, the fire snakes. God, that sucked. Okay. Try that again. Alright, that's quick revenge. We get the Messmer Soldier Axe. Weapon used by the soldiers who served Messmer the Impaler, a steel axe worn from use. A favorite of those who lost themselves utterly in their lord's war, capable of performing powerful charged attacks. So, they got lost in war, meaning they just love killing. Okay, so we are going to head in this direction now, and our destination is going to be somewhere in this region. What I recommend doing, though, is... Sorry, I'm going to kill this Blood Fiend here, because I actually want to quickly make sure there's no forage or cookbook in this area, because weirdly I think there is. You got another Blood Fiend here. Sorry, I'm just quickly looking these up. Okay. No, they're not here. There is one somewhat nearby, but it's actually like over here. So yeah. All right. Cool. So what I recommend doing on your path here is there's going to be soldiers on top of these scaffolds, and in case you're wondering how do I reach this fort, you can't yet. It's actually past Castle-Ensis, and there's a Site of Grace up here that allows you to fall into the fort. So it's not one that you can just access through a front door or something. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm actually just going to do my best to, like, run through this area for a couple of reasons. One, these guys throw fire pots like nobody's business, and they can deal a lot of damage, and there's explosive barrels everywhere. So I recommend just running through, and part of the reason for that is because there's also not, like, any truly significant treasure over here. So now that that guy has fallen, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to grab this one treasure here. And that's kind of it. Okay, so skipping all those enemies, we're just going to run down here. You do have to be careful, though, because there are vulgar militia. Though I think they have a slightly different name in the Realm of Shadow. But there are militia members who are those little pygmy dudes. And you'll see, like, statues of Rosis all around here sort of guiding you into this area. Yeah, here they are. Shadow militia in this area. Gauntless is dark as shadow, worn by vulgar militiamen. Freshly singed battlegrounds effusing with the stench of the dead. Forbidden lands that will be excised from the memory of history. What better place than the realms of shadow, then, for such an army? These guys love lurking in the shadows, doing dirty deeds. So continue to follow the path, and then you will eventually come across the entrance to a catacomb. All right. Welcome to the Fog Rift Catacombs. Catacombs in the DLC are very long. They are full-fledged dungeons, so yeah, buckle up. They go horrid. Now, what I recommend doing for any catacomb, same goes for the base game, is put crystal darts on your bar. And the reason for this is because crystal darts can possess stone enemies, such I have upgrades, such as imps, and that's going to be very helpful to you. It's especially helpful in the base game for the like Erdtree Burial Watchdog boss fights, because in those boss fights you can like possess the boss to kill the imps and vice versa. But here it just becomes somewhat more useful because the imps are crazy. They have new designs in the Realm of Shadow. A lot of them bounce on these two-handed swords that they will drop. So be aware of that. But now we have like cannon imps and gigantic cannon imps and all sorts of imps. So it's really helpful if you possess them using crystal darts. But do be careful because a lot of the catacombs have these ceilings that drop with spikes. And they are quite deadly. So when you move past the floors that are stained with blood, you know you're safe. But some of these rooms are completely covered by these crushing ceilings, so just be careful. And then when you approach, you'll hear it begin to fall, and then that's when you want to kind of duck into whatever area they have. Okay, very good. Moving on. Always be on the lookout for imps. And we have these necromancer dudes who have new types of magic. So this is Godwin magic, and you can tell that because it has the death mark when he begins casting. And the magic bounces off of walls, so you gotta be careful. Stay under here while you deal with this guy. Hopefully he comes towards us. Great. Block that. The reason you want to stay under here is because of that necromancer. Okay. Oh boy, watch out because it does bounce back. Oh, there's a cannon imp up there. Sorry about that, didn't see that. Cannon imps are funny looking, but boy, did they deal a ton of damage. So we're going to come down here for this treasure, but always be on the lookout in the corners because imps are typically hiding there. Okay. Get the Ancient Dragon Knight's Cookbook number 1. A record of crafting techniques of the ancient dragon knight who followed Godwin's golden knights into the realm of shadow. So Godwin's knights were here. Acquire the knowledge to craft the following: red lightning pot. Pick up your Fulgur Bloom, sorry. And then run back across this way. The cannon imp does not get you. All right, pay very close attention to this ceiling here. It's going to begin to fall, and then we're actually just going to jump on it and use it as our own personal elevator. Careful of the cannon imp here. Just keep running until it shoots, and then you are somewhat safe. Go ahead and grab some knot resin. Another yellow Fulgur Bloom, and then we're going to come over to this cubby hole over here. Pretty good. We have a Necromancer here. And then there might be an imp nearby. Okay, let's go ahead and rush the Necro. I love the way these guys look. They're so, like, not scary, but scary looking. All right, this is the same guy as before. Get your revenge on him. Cool. So now that room is, like, safe-ish. And up here we have a couple of Messmer Knights guarding a Black Knight. So what you want to do is try to kite them out as best you can. Of course, he shouts. Nice with the backstab. That was perfect. Couldn't have planned that any better. Great. So, this guy is not alone. We have this guy over here. So, what I'm going to recommend doing is actually killing this guy first. He goes down in just a few hits, and then you should be able to defend yourself from the Black Knight. Oh, for half a second. Cool. All right, then you get yourself a great Ghost Glovewort for your troubles. Whew. All right. Go ahead and pick up your Fulgur Bloom, and now we got to go back to that room with the crushing ceiling from before. All right, now we're going to ride this down and basically go back to the original entrance here, and then we're going to drop. Now, after you drop, roll really quickly into this cubby hole here. This way you don't die. And then we have a imp over here. Okay, Fulgur Bloom here. And then we're going to take this ladder up, but this is sort of, it's not necessarily going to dead end, but it's going to bring us somewhere that we've already been. But I still want to go up. So this is the cannon imp from before that was harassing us. I was hoping he would be still up there, but it's okay. Go back into the crushing ceiling room. Wait for it to drop once, and then we're going to drop again. And we're going to do the same thing. Duck back into that cubby. This way you don't get crushed. And now we're going to go across. Okay. Feel like we missed a section here. Because there was that window above the Black Knight. Okay. Alright, go ahead and take the elevator down. Oh, I know what we missed. I know what we missed. We're going back. Where that first Necro was, we needed to ride that up. We need to ride that particular ceiling up. Like I said, these catacombs are cool because they're so much longer, but boy, do they get long. All right, yeah, we got to come out over there. Cool, so go back in here, and then we're going to ride this one back up. Okay, exit here. Right, come over here, and then you're gonna sort of edge this right here, and then ride this up. Great. Come over here. Come down here. Perfect. All right. Great. Now you get the Black Knight Commander Andreas Ashes. Ashen remains in which spirits yet dwell, used to summon the spirit of Andreas, Knight Commander of the Black Knights. The Black Knights were the primary force of Messmer's army. Their first leader was Andreas, a man endowed with great strength and command over powers of the Crucible, and whose spirit in these ashes dwells. Though he remained a devout follower of Messmer after his flight from the Erdtree, he would rebel after learning of his liege's serpentine nature. His righteous stand was rewarded with imprisonment in an underground tomb. So Andreas basically found out what Messmer was really about and was imprisoned for it after rebelling. So this is the window that basically leads to the Black Knight that we already killed. So now we can go back this way. Once we touch this, it'll start going down. We can follow it down. And then ride it back to this window. And that's where the Black Knight was. Okay, now let's go back to that elevator from before. Apologies for missing that. I knew it was there. I just thought that we got to it from a different section. Okay, so let's send this up. Oops. Oh, we have to go back. All right. Uh-oh. Yep. I knew that was going to happen. We fell too far. Okay. Now let's go to that elevator. Great. Now let's go to the next level. Great. Okay, so we've got an imp over here. Okay, now this is where your crystal darts will come in handy. All right, so once you see them sort of stand up, they will begin dealing damage to each other. So this works in the base game on any sort of stone enemy, imps, the golems, everything. All right, nice. We got the forked tongue hatchet. Peculiar weapon wielded by imps, hatchet smithed in the shape of a forked tongue dragon. The gently undulating forked blade is known as an imp's tongue and causes blood loss. All right, so there's a necro in this room. So Let him deal his Curse Mark of Death magic. Ignore the imp and go after this guy first, because you don't want to deal with his magic if you don't have to. Great. Level 2 Grave Glovewort. Very useful for leveling Spirit Ashes, and there are some great Spirit Ashes in the DLC. Alright, so this is a really long hallway with quite a few of the smashing ceilings. Oh my god. There we go. I was trying to let that happen. So, duck into your first cubby hole. There's an imp. Okay, now the second cubby hole is going to have a hole in the floor, but we're okay with that. So, fall into the hole. Alright, go ahead and rush this Necromancer. I love how the Curse Mark of Death is visible there. I love how it's visible on his magic. It's such a nice detail. Alright, go ahead and get your level 4 Ghost Glovewort. If you have a fire-based weapon or a fire affinity weapon, it'll be helpful on the slimes, but you don't really need it. I knew that wasn't an illusory wall, but I had to check anyway. You always gotta check. Okay, so go ahead and grab your Fulgur Bloom and then come in here. There's going to be 2 Necromancers in here, so there's one there. Then there's also one back here, so go ahead and kill this one first. Heal up. And then for some reason that kind of just, like, drops aggro on the one guy. And then you get the Electrocharge Incantation. One of the incantations of the capital's ancient dragon cult calls down lightning to charge the caster's body. While charged, electric shocks will strike the area several times. Charging increases potency. The origin of incantations that bolster the body with lightning, and now a lost art in the lands between. So, kind of like the story goes, I shouldn't say the story, but the explanation for these dragon incantations being present in the realm of Shadow, despite this not being a place of ancient dragons. There it is, but I think it's just they're trying to say like the spells were like lost to time or something. Like certain sects of the knights came here using dragon incantations. They all died, and so the spells stayed here. It's kind of the way they explain it being missing from the lands between. There are some dragons here, though. We've already killed one, and there is a really powerful dragon later on in the DLC that we will fight. Okay, so coming up here. Grab that Fulgur Bloom, and now we're just above where like that first kind of set of Necro was. This is where we used the crystal darts on the imps before. So now we're back here. We can go back downstairs and head back into the room with the crushing ceiling. So we're just going to blitz our way into this first cubby hole. Carefully, don't fall into this hole again, but you can stand here and you're safe. Very good. And then you can jump into this third cubby hole for a glass shard. Let the ceiling fall one more time. And we're going to come over here. Just be careful because this imp will wake up when you get close, but you can actually get a jump on him just like that. There's another imp over here. Just quickly block and then get him to bonk off of you. Kill this Necro. And then there are 2 imps on the other side, just like before. Is there only one? No, definitely 2. Oh, he was up on the wall. Didn't like that. Okay, great. So now this room is clear, but still have a bit of exploring to do. So you get your level 3 Shadow Rune, and then carefully jump onto this railing. And then very quickly jump into the cubby hole. That's going to bring you up here. And there's a treasure chest. Inside is the Ash of War Blinkbolt. This Ash of War is really cool. It's a skill used by the Golden Knights who served Godwyn. From a low stance, the body is transformed into a bolt of lightning and charges straight ahead at fulgurous speed. I almost said sped. But basically, it turns you into a lightning bolt and you move like the Flash. It's really, really cool. All right, so we're going to hop up here and then do our thing, walking across these platforms, and then just come over here. Okay. And then this right here is the Stone-Sheathed Sword. The Stone-Sheathed Sword is really interesting. So if we read the item description, it says, a sword that none can pull from its scabbard of cracked stone. Relic of a lost civilization from a time long past, said to have served a ritual purpose at altars of light and darkness. So, the description here is telling us a riddle. It's a relic of a lost civilization from a time long past. So we got to find more than likely the ruins of an ancient civilization, ancient being the key word, said to have served a ritual purpose at altars of light and darkness. So this is an altar right here. So basically what we need to do is we need to find a similar altar in an ancient place. And we will find that way later on in the DLC. But we can actually change that sword into a different sword called the Sword of Light. We just got to find the other altar. All right, so we got a couple of imps here. Hopefully we can... Oh, God. All right. Time for our friend Crystal Darts. Ah, well. It at least bought us some time. Ah! Alright, level 5 Ghost Glovewort, and then we drop back down here. And then this is going to lead us back into the Crushing Ceiling Room. But since we did everything on the other side, all we got to do is run. Okay, so this is another Crushing Ceiling. However, there's only one item in this room. Getting this might cause me to get crushed. Nope, we made it. Okay, cool. Come to the other side, down the elevator, and into the next floor. Lo and behold, it's the boss room. So no switch necessary. We just go right into the boss fight. And there is a Stake of America here, so should you die here, you're fine. Now, I believe the boss here is a Death Knight, and the Death Knights are really fun. The Death Knight has that Thunderbolt Ash of War, so you got to watch out for that. But it also has a grab attack that can fully replenish its health, almost from like 60%. So you don't want to get grabbed. The telegraph for the grab attack is basically he will explode into like a wave of shadow, crouch, and then run toward you really fast. So once you see that explosion of shadow energy, just get ready to roll. But you don't want to roll right away. It is a delay. So we'll very likely see it. I'm going to also put my lamp on. So that's the Thunderbolt. But I'm putting my lamp on just so you could like see. He also gets lightning, so be careful. The lightning follows up with lightning, so you can use the pillars to block it if you can. This guy has double axes. The axes. All right, I'm going to heal really quick. I was just trying to show you some moves. Now I'm actually going to start doing work on him. He is incredibly susceptible to backstabs, so just let him sort of twirl around and then do backstabs. Like, really susceptible to backstabs. He can do the grab basically at any time in the fight. So just always be on the lookout for that explosion of shadow energy. Okay, thought that might be a backstab. Oh, boy. Yeah, backstabs are your friend here. I feel like he's going to do the grab at some point. That move right there is just a big twirl. He can follow it up. I shouldn't have hit him. This is the grab. Just roll. You're good to go. If he grabs you, he restores his health. And you take a lot of damage too. So he basically siphons your health. Unfortunately, even though you can eventually get this guy's armor, the player version of the cape does not have this really sick glow effect. I really wish it did. I don't know why they didn't do that, but yeah, kind of unfortunate. So yeah, like I said, backstabs. His combo sequences are really long and have a really long recovery time, so you can kind of just backstab him all day. Ooh, I thought it was the twirl attack. That's okay. I actually want to change a talisman out. One of the Black Knife Prince talismans restores health on backstabs and criticals, so let's go ahead and swap that out. We can get rid of the prosthesis wearer heirloom. All right, let's try that again. I don't know why I bothered putting the lamp on. So yeah, with that particular trinket or talisman, we restore health on backstabs, which is really helpful for this guy because he's so backstab susceptible. Here it comes. Do it again. I don't know if this guy can bleed. I feel like it takes forever, if he is. God, again with this attack. It just looks so similar to the twirl attack, but he holds it for so much longer. Jeez. Buddy. That second roll was unnecessary. Wow, this guy is just chewing through me. All right, reset the fight here. Perfect. I feel like the bosses in the DLC have a longer invulnerability time for like when you can just start attacking them after backstabs and such. Ooh, that backstab didn't actually work. That one did. Okay, that's death. Great. Seemed like he had 1 HP. So we get the Death Knight's Twin Axes, as well as the Crimson Amber Medallion +3. Golden War Axes of the Death Knight, a pair of weapons made to be wielded in both hands. Crackles with lightning, the power of the capital's ancient dragon cult. The knight, once the personal guard of Godwyn, was also the protector of the Prince of Death's cadaver surrogate. And if you look closely, we are fighting in front of Godwyn. Medallion with Crimson Amber inlaid boosts maximum HP by the utmost. The Erdtree's old sap becomes amber, treasured as the most precious of jewels in the age of Godfrey, the first Elden Lord. These medallions of the largest variety were conferred to Godwyn's inner circle of distinguished golden knights. Hello, Godwyn. Okay, now we can exit. All right, so we don't need to run back through like that fog rift ravine, so we're actually just going to teleport. Going to get rid of that marker. Now we're going to go back to the castle front. So from the castle front, we have a few choices. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to go meet an NPC named Thiollier, and I marked him on our map in the previous section, but we're just going to go right here. So we're going to follow this road. And we're going to revisit this road in a moment. We're literally going to come right back here. I do just want to point out this NPC. So that road is where we're going to go next. But for now, we're going to come over here. This road is heavily guarded by Messmer knights. Messmer soldiers. So take care of them. Wow, can't believe I missed that first hit. Two, three. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Okay, and then this guy's over here. Take care of him. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. And now if you look closely, he's overlooking this cliff, and we can actually drop down this cliff. We're not going to do that yet, but this is a place that we will revisit. For now, though, what we want to do is we want to get back on the road now that everybody's dead. Although I think there is one more soldier and a dog along the way. Nope. Graveyard. Oh, there is a dog. Okay. Going along here. Ooh, the Ascetic. I knew they were crouching for a reason. Hello, Mr. Curseblade. thought that would be a backstab. Still no backstab, really. That's a grab. Okay, got him. I can't believe they started crouching. They were literally trying to get out of that guy's way. That's so funny. All right. That's so funny. I love this game so much. The details are nuts. Okay. Come over here. Grab this, grave Glovewort, and continue along this road. All right. So if we come over here toward our marker. Yeah, we actually... This road forks so many times. Come down here. And then there's going to be another Miquella's Cross. And an NPC is sitting at that cross by a site of grace. So let's grab that Scadutree fragment. And I am tracking them in the video description. I am tracking how many that we're getting. There's a total of 50 in the game, so I am tracking them as we get them. But pick that up, and then you can check the cross for the next sign of the cross, or station of the cross, if you will. Carved words coalesce. I abandon here a part of the flesh of my body. And then we get the Imperium Blood Virgins again. And let's speak with this gentleman named Thiollier. Turn up the volume for you.
Oh, hello there. Are you the Tarnished? Lady Leda spoke of you. Another Tarnished. Guided here by Miquella the Kind. My name is Thiollier. I too am Tarnished. And here on kindly Miquella's account. So, well, here's to new beginnings, I suppose. I'm sorry. But, well, I'm not much good at anything is all. I'm as weak as a kitten and thick as two planks. I've always been this way, since the very day I was born. I'm afraid the only thing I'm proficient in is poison. Sorry.
So in the DLC, there's a new weapon type of deadly poison perfume bottles. There's quite a lot of perfume bottles in the DLC as weapons. And Thiollier is kind of lying. Like, he says he's not good at anything, but he is good at poison. That is true, but he is exceptional at poison. And you eventually do get to fight alongside him, and my god, does he clean up. He is weak, like he does have low health and no armor, but when he gets rolling, wow, he is strong. Okay, so if we read the description of the deadly poison perfume bottle, it says perfume bottle customized by Thiollier. Attacks release perfumed powder, producing deadly poison. There are some techniques of the perfuming arts that employ poison. Upon learning of this, Thiollier threw himself into mastering those techniques, and he made them his own, and boy did he. So buy that from him. He also sells poison bone darts if you need those, but you should be able to craft them. And then he sells some poison grease, toxic mossling, all these things you can pick up along the way. So you don't really need to purchase anything else from him. Most importantly, though, he sells Trina's Lily, which is a light purple water lily that is on the verge of wilting. It's used in crafting. The symbol of faith to Saint Trina dulls the senses, preventing agitation. Thiollier is seeking Saint Trina, and that is why he sells these. More on Saint Trina later, but Saint Trina has a big part of this DLC. Okay, so...
Just give me the word if you need any more poison.
Okay. I do want to speak with him, though, so I'll turn the volume back up.
So, what...
Sorry. He has another dialogue option, but we very quickly need to warp back to another NPC named Moore, who we found at the main gate cross just in front of Bellyrot. So let's speak with him now.
Welcome. Oh, I know. Give this to Thiollier. He asked me to find it. I finally found it. Many things I like for you. Things.
Okay, great. So we got the black syrup. We'll bring that back to Thiollier in a minute. I mentioned in the previous part of the walkthrough when we, or I guess 2 parts ago, when we first spoke with Moore, you want to purchase this note for Sealed Spirit Springs. I realize I never explained why, But this note teaches us about sealed spirit springs, which are really important in the DLC. So if we scroll down to the notes, it's right here. Note found by the Forager Brood, imparting knowledge in brief. Should you chance upon a sealed spirit spring, look for stacked stones nearby. By toppling them, you may break the seal. So we're going to find spirit springs in the world that we can't actually use until we find a pile of stones nearby. When you break those stones or topple them, that spirit spring becomes active. So that hint, or that note, teaches you about this new mechanic, similar to the Santa Claus traveling merchants in the base game. Okay, let's go back to Thiollier. Oh my god, we didn't light the Site of Grace. That's hilarious. Okay, let's go back to Thiollier and give him the black syrup. Alright, the black syrup says an ebony black syrup held in an unglazed jar. More asked that this be delivered to Thiollier, an unknown liquid apparently gathered and aged by the Forager Brood. The Forager Brood is a collective of merchants, if you will. Moore is really the only one that you can like speak with, but you will find them throughout the world. And as long as Moore is friendly to you, they will offer you cookbooks. But if Moore is unfriendly, then you actually just won't find them. So this is the road that leads to Thiollier here. Slower road. Can't believe I didn't light the Site of Grace. That's funny. We're going to do that before we speak with him. Go ahead and clear the marker.
So, what can I... Oh? What's this? I have to say, Sir Moore has an awfully sharp eye, doesn't he? It's wonderful. This ebony, as lustrous as the night sky unending. I don't think I could ever thank him enough, but I'll have to think of something. Ah, forgive me. You two deserve your share of the reward. I'll mix up something special. If you find yourself weary of the weight of this life, then just give me the word. Sleep is a balm. An eternal sleep is an elixir.
So real quick, just want to confirm what this does. Okay.
Is that so? Then take this. This concoction can coax even the oldest of dragons to sleep. For you, it will grant the sweetest slumber for all eternity. So,
Okay. Cool. So, Thiollier seems to be obsessed with sleep. Thiollier's concoction says an ebony black concoction mixed by Thiollier, a condensed somniferous elixir, which somniferous is corresponding to sleep, purported to be capable of putting even an ancient dragon to sleep. For an ordinary mortal, a single sip would assuredly result in a swift and certain death. Thiollier thought of St. Trina's sleep when he created this, but the ebony sleep he concocted had not the sweetness of nectar nor the gentleness of rest's remembrance. So we can use this, and it will kill us. But there are things with sleep in this game. So I'm not really going to talk about this just yet, but it is a really interesting thing. So if you speak with them again, you should be able to get it again. Yep, for 30k. So just purchase it, and then, you know, just keep it. All right. So we have the Site of Grace uncovered, and now we can move on. So I'm just going to remove this marker, and now we have Thiollier's concoction. Man, it's such a cool quest line. Okay, so now that we've done that, let's go back over here to the castle front side of Grace. And then we are now going to head along this path here to a forge. So let's go here. Set a marker, and then we're going to turn left at the Statue of America. And then, like I said before, instead of going towards Thiollier, we are now going to go down here. There's going to be a bit of a war going on down here, so just let these enemies sort of discovery channel themselves. Don't get involved. There's no point. Just keep going. So we have the Blood Fiends down here doing work. They're killing soldiers and dogs and whatnot. Don't get involved. Just hang out. You can come back here. I believe there's an item back here. If you ever feel your controller randomly vibrating, I'm pretty sure this is why. Like, I'm pretty sure the game is just detecting enemies that are fighting. So that's a spread crossbow. It says a modified crossbow made by combining 2 crossbows into one, capable of loading multiple bolts and firing them simultaneously, enabling the spread of fire. So that's the crossbolt that the Black Jail Knight boss used on us. So you can get it there. Again, just ignore these guys. Let them do their thing. No need to get involved if you don't want. All right, so go towards the torches. I'm going to clear this marker. And inside of here is going to be our first forge. This is the Ruined Forge Lava Intake. So, forges are very similar to mines in the base game. However, there's no boss fight. So, with that in mind, there's basically just like a lot of tough enemies. I do recommend bringing a strike weapon, although it's not necessary. It's just helpful. This ghost says, by grace, if ever I see another rock, I shall find it. Of this I have no doubt. The altar of the forge cannot be far. So our goal is to find the altar. Now, you do have to be careful because lots of stuff drops from the ceiling in this place. There's a hint on the ground from the developers that says, hit them where they're weakest. And that refers to the stone golems right here. So, the stone golems have a jewel in their back, and so that's where you need to try your best to hit them. Hitting them there will deal massive amounts of damage. So, if you can... That's not what I wanted. I want to do a charged R2 on them. I'm hitting L2. That missed. So, do your best to try to deal, like, big damage to that spot. And then eventually they will fall down. And then you get a free critical on them. There you go. And then you critical them in that jewel. Deals a lot of damage. And then you can keep going to work. So a strike weapon will deal like decent damage to them, but it's not significant. So there's also there's smithing stones on the ground, but a lot of times in rooms, especially filled with lava, you'll find another crafting material. It might be in another room, but it's something that you really got to look carefully for. So these guys are very similar to the teardrops in Nokron, except they're fire-based. So just always be looking on the ceiling for them. They tend to drop in groups. Okay. Level 2 smithing stone. All right. Keep an eye on the ceiling. Yeah, great. Okay. Let's do this manually. Greater Potentate's Cookbook number 13. Teaches you how to craft a hefty volcano pod, which is quite strong and very useful. All right. Go ahead and kill this thing so he doesn't interrupt you while you're fighting the golem. Yourself a nice charged R2 there. Free backstab. Look at it, he's already at half health. Come on. Always does that. Ooh, oh, okay, got him. Cool. He's guarding quite a lot of smithing stones. Be sure to pick those up. He drops his own smithing stone. Okay, this is the item that I'm talking about here. So this right here is a gas stone. Gas stones read, block of stone infused with hot gas found in the ruined forges. Perhaps these were once used as fuel for the smithing process. So certain pots that you may want to end up crafting, especially the volcano pots, they require gas stones. So whenever you're in these forges, pay very close attention. Oh, we don't need to go this ladder. Pay very close attention and look out for gas stones. They are hard to see. That's the reason I'm like really pointing them out. They're hard to see on the ground. There's gonna be another golem over here. Oh, it's not counting as the jewel. That sucks. It's because he's on a slope. Oh, don't want to be in this corner. Good. Yeah, lots of upgrade materials here in the forges. It's a treasure trove of upgrade materials. So always be on the lookout for stuff on the ground. Always want to be grabbing it. Okay, so we'll come in here. And this guy's just going to wake up. Just be careful. Yep. Always be looking out for the ceiling. Gas stone to our left. Cool. All right, we get the Smithscript dagger. There's typically Smithscript weapons in every single forge, so always be on the lookout for them. It's a dagger engraved with the Smithscript. Reduced mass enhances the effects of the smithing arts, allowing this weapon to function as a throwing dagger for all attacks. Once thrown, the dagger instantly reappears in the wielder's hand. So this is literally like a throwing dagger that you could just mash R1 to keep throwing over and over and over and over. It's a really, really good weapon. Okay, so we've cleared that out, and we're actually going to more or less like kind of come back to this room in a second, but I wanted to clear it out first. Now what we want to do is we want to backtrack a little bit and then go up this staircase, and then there's going to be a ruin that we can walk up. Right here. I like how you can hear the flail as you run. You can hear it jangling around. I think it's such a cool little detail. Of course. Sometimes these teardrop things can drop gas stones, in case you want to farm them. And I do want to mention, like, by all means, craft as much as you want to craft, use as much as you want to use, but be very careful with hefty pot crafting because there are furnace golems that can only be killed with hefty pots. It's not that they can only be killed with hefty pots, but hefty pots are the intended way to kill them and deal a ton of damage to them, so be careful when crafting like heavy flame-based pots because you don't want to like chew through those gas stones unnecessarily. Okay, so pulling that lever lowers this machine thing. And like I said, we drop back down here, but I just like clearing that out. So you want to jump onto this machine thing as it lowers, and then walk or run all the way up it. Be careful of these teardrops that are falling. They do have ranged attacks, so just be careful. Nice, they dropped a gas stone and a smithing stone. Nice. Love the gas stone drops. Okay, so I'm just quickly looking over here. Alright, so let's come over here. And this is technically the end. So just touch the forge and then you'll get your stuff. Get the Anvil hammer and an ancient dragon smithing stone. The Anvil hammer says one of the treasures of the ruined forges, a tremendous hammer that incorporates as its head the red-hot anvil of the forge. It is said that the anvil's shape is inspired by that of an altar, and that long ago it was indeed used as such in rite and ritual. Okay, so the unique skill is smithing art spears. Slam the red-hot anvil into the ground, sending up countless spears as it is pulled out. The spears disappear instantly, so I can't wield this, but let's see if we could make it work here. So the weapon art's pretty cool. If you two-hand it and hold L2, you'll slam it into the ground. Yeah, okay. I don't have proficient stuff to use it, so. Yeah, spears would come out of the ground after you do that, if you can wield it. It's a cool weapon, though. All right, so you can touch the teleporter to leave. However, there is a room that I wanted to check out, and this really could just be an exit, but I want to go over here. Yeah, this is just the exit. Okay, it's just the ghost. All good. Okay, so that is the forge, and now that we've touched the altar, we can leave. You know, the teleporter works again, so we're good to go there. Now what we're going to do, though, is we're going to go along this road, and we're going to get to about here, and there's a site of grace there, and then our ultimate destination over here, we have the Pillar of Suppression, and then a cave here, and that cave is where we're going to do that cave and then end the walkthrough. But let's go back to Castle Front one more time, and then we'll start going towards these markers. So at the first marker, we're going to meet an NPC named Igon. He is going to be screaming his lungs out, and there's not much that he has to say, but he's an interesting NPC that we should still speak with. All right, so we're not going to go down that road towards the pet cemetery. Instead, we're going to come up here and then veer to the right. And then be careful of the Curse Blade ascetic that is lurking in these woods that jumped us before. So we're going to kind of skirt around here in hopes that he doesn't show up. Okay. Cool. So let's get back on the road here. Great. All right, now we got these blue guys. I think Eurogamer wrote an article, or VG247, or somebody wrote an article literally asking people, what are these guys for? And I don't know the answer. All right, so we have the site of grace, and somebody's talking to us. Screaming their lungs out, like I said. So let's talk to him a little bit.
The pain. My arms, my legs, each lies a bloody ruin. Bale! Vile Bale! Oh, terror incarnate! There is life in me yet! I will soon feast upon your heart! Mark my words! You too shall know fear! Oh, the pain. The exquisite pain.
Okay. So this gentleman's name is Igon, and we know this by looking at the map. It'll say Igon. I think he tells us his name later on, but he has been thoroughly wrecked by a dragon named Bale, who we will meet later on. But yeah, he mostly just spends the game screaming at people. But he does come in handy on the Bale fight if you'd like to use him. Okay, so our next destination is going to be up here. And we're going to go towards the Pillar of Suppression, because at the top of the pillar is a good treasure that you will find helpful. Get the Gravebird bracelets. Eventually, throughout the game, you just find the whole Gravebird set, but it says stone bracelets with a tinge of green. One of a set of armor pieces cast in the image of the Gravebird. Gravebirds are ancient golems created to guard the spirit graves built where all manner of death ultimately drift. So some of these are statues, some of these are real. So just use your targeting to kind of help you determine which is which. Okay. So the ones that, whose mouths are already glowing, they're going to start breathing on you really quick, so be very careful of that. Try to rush them and just get them in their face. This way you can kill them before they breathe, or at least get behind them before they breathe. So we've got quite a few up here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to go behind them. But, of course, this is, like, more heavily guarded. God, the damage that these things do to Torrent is just unforgivable. Oh my goodness gracious, I'm dead. The damage that Torrent takes from everything in this DLC is infuriating. It almost makes Torrent, I hate to say this about the best boy, but it almost makes him worthless. Like, horseback combat, yeah, this guy's still screaming his lungs out.
I repent. Come no closer. Oh, the horror. Please, savage me no further.
He's crazy. Yeah, the damage that Torrent takes from everything in this DLC it's just savage. It's crazy. So I'm going to attempt to skip past some things, just get back up there quickly. Yo. Okay. Wowzer. Okay. Pillar of Suppression. Pillar of Suppression is interesting. Or the suppressing pillar. It's interesting. I think what it does is it is like a mechanism that cloaks the realm of shadow. And the reason I think that is because of what an altar says up top. And I actually missed this altar my first time because I just saw the treasure chest, which is an ancient dragon smithing stone. But if you read this, it says, the very center of the lands between, all manners of death wash up here, only to be suppressed. So I think this pillar is some sort of suppression mechanism, and it's like the dead center of the realm of shadow, more or less. And like maybe you can say that the realm of shadow is here, but like the target reticle of the map, you know, the cursor never matches up. Like, it just stays where you want it to stay. So, but according to the text, this is the very center of the lands between. So it could be that this pillar is some sort of magical thing that suppresses the land and makes it so it's invisible. Could be. All right. So now that we've done that, let's go get our bloodstain. good. And then let's sort of go behind the pillar. I don't believe there's anything important back here, but it's always worth checking. Yeah, just more gargoyles. So, I'm actually just going to run. There's no point in killing these things all the time. Then we're going to come over here. And there is a jar on a string over here. So this is bringing us back, God, to the area where Igon is. So as you approach this northern area, it's going to start screaming again. But we're going to get invaded by, like, the person that I think is terrorizing him. I think that's what the idea is. We get invaded by the Ancient Dragon Man, and he shows up down there. So let's fight him. This is an NPC invasion. This will happen to everybody. Oh, rivers of blood. You are very strong. Great. So that's the Ancient Dragon Man. The Ancient Dragon Man has died. Alright, so there is a pot on a string over here that I do want to knock down. Right here. Take out a bow. Shoot the string. You gotta love From Software hitboxes. Do you shoot the pot? You shoot the pot, alright. Pick that up, and it's an Herbalist's Bell Bearing, which sells Rata Fruit. So bring that back to the Twin Maiden Husks back in Round Table Hold, and you'll be able to just purchase Rata Fruit from them. I think there's 3 Bell Bearings that are found like that. 2 of them are actually in the river. But if we head back here, we can once again speak with Igon. I think his dialogue updates. He just screams a lot, so I really don't remember what all of his dialogue is. It's a lot of screaming.
I am sorry. I repent. Please spare me. Please spare me.
Well, let's just rest really quick and see what happens. I know he leaves at some point. His quest line is short. Okay, cool. He's back to normal. All right, so now let's go to our third marker, which is going to be a dungeon called the Dragon's Pit. The Dragon's Pit is a really important dungeon. And I know I say everything's very important, but I mean it this time. Now, what I mean to say is this dungeon, once you beat it, leads to a new area. And this is something that I really, really do enjoy about the DLC, is that exploring matters so much. Not that it didn't in the Lands Between, but the Lands Between, you kind of just walk from one place to the other with the exception of getting to Altus Plateau. I just said that like Gideon. Aside from going to Altus Plateau, you kind of just walk from place to place to place, or take a very obvious elevator. Altus Plateau you can get to in a couple of different ways, which is nice, but for the most part, you're really just walking. In the Realm of Shadow, however, and I am just sort of taking the long way here to make sure I don't skip any random treasures on corpses. In the Realm of Shadow, however, certain dungeons lead to whole areas, and this is one of them. So we're not actually going to, we're going to open the door, we're going to get the Site of Grace and everything, and we are going to do this particular dungeon, but we're not going to start the next area for quite a while. It's kind of like an endgame area, so I'm not going to start it. Hello, can we clear the marker? Thank you. All right, so let's enter this cave. This is the Dragon's Pit. It's a somewhat short dungeon. So that's why I wanted to sort of put it in this part of the walkthrough. It's not long at all. But you notice there I changed my weapon, and that's because I want to use Sacred Blade. So if you don't have Sacred Blade equipped or some sort of sacred incantation that will buff your weapon, you want to equip it. And the reason is because when you kill enemies that are undead, they leave behind this ichor that you have to kill yourself. However, if you were to kill him while your weapon is enchanted with Sacred, they just die. You don't have to deal with the Ichor. All right. So that is why Sacred Blade is super helpful. It's great against the Ghost Flame Drakes, but it's also really good against these enemies. It's like an instant critical hit, and it does a lot of damage, and it also just makes them die. Okie doke. So here we are. There's archers this way. I'm going to go take care of this archer just because I don't want him bothering us. Good. Cool. He's dead. Okay. Get that. Brings these guys up. Okay. And if we look over here, we'll see this like goblet of blood and a pit. More on that in a bit. So this guy's over here. Go ahead and kill him as he sort of comes to life. Gonna rebuff my weapon on this guy. Kill him instantly. We have this big guy down here. Ow. Okay, and then another guy just came alive. Yep, hello. Cool. Okay. Go through here. And then in here is going to be a mini-boss. And it's my favorite kind of mini-boss. It's a Magma Wyrm. I hate these things with passion. I just find them very annoying to fight. They're not interesting. Just because they just crawl around and just annoy the hell out of me. They're not fun to fight, in my opinion. Because this is all they do. They just do this back and forth, back and forth. Magic builds have a much easier time with this thing because they don't have to worry about chasing them, but like, come on. Like, this is so dumb. I'm almost, like, amazed that they brought these back. Let me out. Luckily, they're still susceptible to bleed. When they stand, they're going to fall. So dumb. I hate these things. What is this? It's just a waste of time fighting these things. Like, I don't understand how this was, like, approved. I don't know. I don't work in game design. I just work in esports. What do I know? Oh, God. Barely did anything. Okay, we got a Dragon Heart and an Ancient Dragon Smithing Stone for our troubles. I used to have 25 Dragon Hearts. I literally never spent these things on this character, I don't think. All right, go ahead and grab a Smithing Stone, and there's another treasure in the back. Not resin. All right, now we can drop back into the big room. Right here. And then let's go down the stairs. There's a hint on the floor that says, "Be brave, show no fear." And I don't think there's anything over here. I weirdly think there's something on this side. No. Okay, all good. So, basically it's a riddle. You think you want to reach over there, but instead you just want to drop down. All right. And now we're going to fight the boss. So the boss is, once again, the Ancient Dragon Man, but he has some new attacks. He's an actual boss this time. So he's got this attack, which not too difficult. Just he sort of stalls in the air and then does a slash. But that opens him up for a backstab. His attacks oftentimes do have dragon wound grease on them. That's sort of what the incantation on the blade is. And you can see here that his attacks stack quite a lot of bleed, so you want to watch out. He's got these interesting incantations. Nothing to really worry about. It's really these attacks that are very frustrating to deal with because they stack so much bleed. So what you can do is, if you're quick, you can put bleed boluses on your bar and then just get those ready. Yeah. Oh, God. Whoa, dude. Oh, God, he does so much damage. It's always nice to nullify the heal. You can get him in a corner, you're going to do kind of okay against him. Oh, I'm dead. I thought it was just a fireball. It's okay. You spawn right in front of the boss fog. It's not a big deal. It's funny, I died to him once my first time through as well. Okay. I at least have more flasks now. Ugh. My bloodstains over here. Yep, there it is. Nope, shouldn't have pressed R2 again. Or R1 again. Again, having Scadutree blessing levels is so important. Oh, ow. Oh my car, dude, come on. That's a hit. I really wish I had gotten that backstab. Oh, wow. That's a hit. Wow, it's not a hit. Alright, so he's got the seal out, which means he's going to try to use incantations. Wow. None of that did anything. Oh my god. I was just fishing for a backstab that whole time. So my Briar armor is kicking him out of his jump when I don't really want it to. Because I'm fishing for the backstab. Oh no. go. We have 1 HP. There we go. There's the Ancient Dragon, man. Tough fight. But you get the Dragon Hunter's Great Katana, which reads, Great Katana with spines of gravelstone along its blade, wielded by the Ancient Dragon Man of the Dragon's Pit, has an anti-dragon effect. Formerly a Dragon Communion warrior, the Ancient Dragon Man was once arbiter of those worthy to devour the Dreaded One. So, he's an arbiter of those worthy to devour the Dreaded One. Meaning, he gets to decide who's worthy to fight or consume the heart of the Dreaded One. Love it. So, likely that Igon was being terrorized by him, but I'm almost positive he fought Bale at one point and lost. So, don't forget to open the door here. This is the most important part. Do not teleport back to the entrance. You want to open the door and then activate this site of grace, which is the Dragon's Pit Terminus. The Dragon's Pit Terminus leads you to a new area, which we don't yet have the map fragment for, and we won't for a little while. This is the foot of the Jagged Peak. Jagged Peak is a whole new zone that leads to a zone called Jagged Peak. So this is the foot of Jagged Peak. It leads to Jagged Peak, but then it also leads to a place called Charo's Hidden Grave, which is this red area down here. We're not going to touch this for a while. It's not necessarily like endgame content, but the main boss here is certainly one of the hardest in the entire game. It took me 4 hours to beat solo with like no summon or anything. It is a very difficult boss. You can summon Igon for it, which is quite nice, but it is meant for much later in the game, so we're going to basically leave this here, and we'll come back to this place eventually. So, now that we've done all of that, let us go back to... Let's go back to the castle front. And then we're going to have a little chat. Okay, so now that we've done all of that, can we level? I think we need like 280k to level. 200, oh, nice, 240. All right, keep going into endurance. Okay, so now that we've done that, we are currently Scadutree Blessing level 4 and Revered Spirit Ash Blessing 2. So we've basically done more or less everything that Gravesite Plain has to offer, with a couple of exceptions. So this section right here is called Ellac River. There is a dungeon here, and then this Ellac River leads down here into the southern coast. We have a few choices, though. We could, at this point, go do Bellyrat Tower Settlement. And I think that's what we'll likely do next. This way we could just sort of like put an end to Gravesite Plain, more or less. And then we will go do Ellac River after that. The reason for that is because this, like, Ellac River is pretty short. It does have that dungeon at the top of the river. But then once you get to the bottom, you end up in a completely different zone. And I would like to, like, kind of like, I don't know, like put a bow on Gravesite Plain and say, okay, we're done. So with that, next time what we're going to do is we're going to do Bellyrat Tower Settlement, which is the first legacy dungeon that you get access to, or like I guess the first intended one. So the game really does guide you into this path. Although looking at the map, there's actually no Guidance of Grace yet, which I find very interesting. We haven't actually found a Guidance of Grace, which is kind of funny. But I do believe that once you get into Bellyrat, you find one. Anyway, point being, it's the first one you have access to. The boss of Bellyrat Tower Settlement is fought right here. Quite a difficult boss, if I'm being honest. But by the time we reach it, we should be Scadutree Blessing level 5, and then we're going to have a much easier time. You can also summon Freya for the fight as well, and she can help you out. But there's a lot to do in Bellyrat, so we'll do that next time, and then we'll put a bow on this whole area. One thing that I want to note is that when we did Fog Rift Catacombs, we kind of began to uncover this section of the map. This map still is nowhere close to where you think it is. In order to get it, you actually have to come all the way up here, go through a cave, and then you kind of drop onto it like that. So it's not close. That's why I haven't even mentioned it yet. But and then this one you get right after Castle Ensis. Of course, there is another way up there, which I can show you when we do Ellac River. But that's it for now. Okay, so next time we'll do Bellyrat Tower Settlement. And so, yeah, we'll call it there. Actually, let's go to Main Gate Cross, and then we'll end it there. This way we're ready to go. But that's it. All right, if you have any questions, please feel free to... Oh, I got to give a shout out to my channel members. Sorry, since this video is not edited. All right, I would like to give a big thank you 2. John Aldridge with 50 months. That's crazy. Silver Bullet 13 with 37 months. Daniel Cockerill with 32 months. Brian Brubaker with 27 months. Baghdad Money with 23 months. Greg with 21 months. X Lightning 84 with 16 months. Harv Fontany with 13 months. Jason Naps with 3 months. And Working Class Nerds, who just crossed over to 1 month. Thank you very much to my channel members. All right, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. I'll do my best to help you out. If you're looking for more guides for Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, please subscribe to the channel so you get alerted when new guides go live. If you're interested in supporting the channel monetarily, please consider becoming a channel member by clicking the join button below this video. You can also leave a super thanks by clicking the heart icon below this video. Don't forget to join my community Discord. The link for that is in the description below. As always, I'm SweetJohnnyCage. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.